You guys remember LazyDayz?
Smell my socks!
This is what we're into today.
Good morning, Rye Guy here. When this video was shot, it was the 18th of January, and it was a minus million degrees. It was cold that day. It was actually minus 18? Or something, minus 15 or minus 18 in the truck. Anyway, it was cold. And yeah. Anyway, today we actually started off in Windsor area, and we were just headed out to martock. Actually, that was the original plan. As you'll see later on in this video, plans changed. Plans changed for several reasons. Several reasons named LazyDayz. Anyway, you'll see up in this video. He's riding a far from new, I guess it's one of the first gen Razor 800s. Anyway, it's just he was looking for something for him and his significant other to, cruise trails with, and ended up with this Razor. It works okay. It actually works pretty good. There's some ignition issues, which I think most of them had at that time, and that's just due to that Polaris ignition issue. But anyway, working through bit by bit. Not going to put a whole lot of money into it. I was very much expecting all that to be frozen. Majority of it wasn't. We fell through a lot of holes. But you got to consider too, we were not the only ones on the trail, and when that happens, you tend to get a couple guys go through the water hole and break up, refreeze, break up, refreeze, and it never freezes solid.
Pretty amazing how cold it's been, and we're still breaking through the ice.
Yeah, and there you go. That's. Like I said, what we ended up doing is actually doing a couple small local loops around this area, but this is actually the first run that this new Grizzly has seen snow. We've had snow for a little bit, but nothing really significant.
The brakes are frozen.
Not at all frozen. It was just big chunks of ice we're trying to smash through. I don't like doing that with the ATV. I don't care if it's new or, or 30 years old. It's just hard on a bike. It's hard on the ball joints, the CV joints, the boots, A-arms. It's just hard. I was actually the only one on this run out of the three of us who didn't have any studs, and you'll see where the advantage of them would come right here. As soon as we started down this hill, I didn't even tap my brakes. If it would have hit my brakes, I would have went faster, I'm pretty sure. But this is just a glare of just ice. Gotta been 3-5 inches thick the whole way down, and there was a lot of trails out in the open power line areas that we had crossed over that had that kind of icy sheen to it. Main reason why is it just gets more sun. Gets more sun, it melts the snow, and then the cold frosty nights just refroze everything solid.
My key's frozen. Ooh. Cold, cold, cold.
Nothing like a
Knee
little
glasses.
carbon monoxide.
Let's see.
Warm your hands. Yeah, you see more of that ice coming down here. I tried when I was going down here to keep my tires on the snow, kind of straddle all that ice. And that was pretty much the only thing that kept me in control going down this hill.
No studs. Try to keep the tires on from snow.
Coming up here, you're going to see why plans changed. Hear that sound? That's the sound of a razor crying for help.
Yeah, so do I. Might be the better choice.
Don't worry, we got it on video.
You want to winch back or forward?
I don't think we're gonna get there.
Yeah, she's plugged.
What?
I said she's plugged.
For the record, I tried to get it to stop.
And not only the first time in snow, first time the winch is being used. Found out that works actually really well. That's a nice winch that was on that. When I purchased this ATV, this Grizzly, there was a promotion on from Yamaha for a 3,000 pound winch, I think it was, 3,000 or 3,500 pound. And I took it.
Well, the free spool's frozen solid.
He's got a strap, so you just gotta pull up to him.
Oh.
I decided to let some winch cable out and winch him back rather than reverse. I don't like doing that. It's hard on the front axles. When you got pressure on and like all that torque build up in the front axles, especially this time of year where everything's icy cold. Yeah, not a good combination.
I'm not gonna make it through that.
End result of LazyDayz, going through that first.
Only the front fucking brakes work.
When we backed up, or when he backed up,
I've got zip
pretty
ties, too.
sure
Huh? Zip ties?
Yeah.
that
Zip tie, that's something.
big chunk of ice or something ripped that back brake cable,
What?
that braided cable. Anyway, lost brake line. What we ended up having to do is actually just block that one brake line off and pinch it off with a pair of vice grips and keep going. Ended up having to get his neighbor, LazyDayz' neighbor, to drive all the way from his house up and around some of the back roads there in Windsor and get us some brake fluid. And of course, the best decision
That's
to do after you break your bike is to try to break somebody
Hung right up
else's.
though, because you're not sinking.
So of course we
Yeah, you're hung
we
right
tried
up.
it again, and long story short, we ended up getting Rooster out of there, but we walked the trail, and it was just going to be a disaster up until a couple kilometers in, at least. So, no.
We're going back.
Yeah, we're going back.
Well, good time to see if my...
That's the decision, or that was the time that the decision was made to just start doing some small local loops just to get out for the day. Would have been nice to make it to Martock, have a nice hot meal, but
Oh, it's still dry.
always a comic relief.
Oh, in the...
There's another one of those long grade hills. We'll let him go up ahead and do it one at a time. That way if somebody starts to tumble backwards because of the ice, and yeah. Didn't want a chain effect. No good to keep taking bikes out behind like a domino. Wasn't actually too bad. I mean, it wasn't to the point where you couldn't make it up these hills or down the hills without studs, but it's nice to have that security. Even clawing your way through some of those water holes, you get on top of those big chunks of ice, and it really helps to have studs in your tires just to give you that little bit of extra traction. A couple times I had to back up in some water holes just because I was pushing so much ice. Nice little river here. I didn't check my GPS to see what river it was. We just named that one Hennigars Crossing. That's what it's going to be known now as, Hennigars Crossing.
Mike goes, what river is this? I said, a wet one. Decent little road. No.
Top end of the Sackville River last year, there was ice clampers like that thick.
That's how frozen my pant legs were.
Frozen solid.
Just like they were made out of plastic. We started a little fire and just warmed the hands and melted the boots off a little bit and kept going. Afterwards, we actually did return to that fire and stayed there till dark, but it was just a nice little warm-up spot. That corner with the bridge and the river behind you, it's really, really beautiful. Especially this time of year in the wintertime. You can put up with the cold if you can, if you can deal with a little bit of cold and, frigid temps, and it's really nice just to get out in the woods and see the nice fluffy white snow. Tell you what I really like about this Grizzly is not having to choke it every time you start it in the cold. I mean, once my 660 was warmed up, it was okay, but every once in a while you get that cold, I guess, thin air. Especially with the snorkel I had on it, just didn't quite run 100%, but with the fuel injection system in that Grizzly 700, This engine here is a 686. They went back to the 686 in 2019. I'm certainly glad that they did. Some of the 708 issues that were happening, I just wasn't into that. I didn't want to have that engine. Some guys lucked out, got a really good, reliable Grizzly. Some guys didn't. And I've seen some carnage because of the 708s, you know, 3,000 kilometers, they need an engine rebuild because of, you know, rings weren't tight, or wrist pin was gone in the piston, or the airbox wasn't, you know, manufactured correctly, or whatever happened there, and it was sucking in dirt. Anyway, just horrible. Wasn't looking forward to that, so I really wanted to hold out for 2019. Actually, I was holding out for a V-twin, but that's still not in Yamaha's books. Wish I would have done that, but you know, Brewster goosed it. Put her in the pasture there. Still in two-wheel drive. He didn't know it was two-wheel drive.
Lots of power. Man, I don't like going through ice like this.
Yep, time for diff lock. Reason why I back up like that before I put it into diff lock, just in case that the wheel that is free, or that's not spinning, where the diff lock should be used, I didn't want anything under there binding that wheel and axle up, put extra torque on it. That's why I backed up, to make sure that all four wheels were free before locking in the diff.
That's what happened. A Jeep went ahead of us, or a truck or something. Broke up or busted up some of the water holes.
Cold out again, cranking up those heated grips and heated thumb. Wasn't too bad in the woods, but yeah, as soon as you got out in those open roads, any like the fire roads, or even the power line, it was, that wind would hit you and go right through your gloves and through your jacket zippers. Yeah, I don't have a proper snowmobile suit or anything like that. Plus those gloves I'm wearing, those mittens, are just old. They need to be replaced. Lift kit on that thing.
Diff lock.
So nice going through the woods with that sun starting to set too. It was just a gorgeous day. It was cold, but well worth it. Well worth to get yourself out in the woods. You know, dress up like the Michelin Man, but just have a nice time. Well guys, this actually is the end of the video. Like I said, we did return to that fire later on during the night, but I didn't record much of that. Maybe I'll throw up some extra clips later on or something, but I do appreciate your likes, your comments, your views, and for joining me on this run. I'm actually heading out to the Chester Fish and Chip Rally next weekend, so I should have another video up again soon. So anyway, appreciate your support, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Raga out.